Forever Skies, developed by Far From Home and published by those two, is a first-person survival game set on a post-apocalyptic, ecologically ruined Earth. Play solo or with up to 3 friends as you build, upgrade and fly a high-tech airship, scavenge resources, craft tools and face dangers on the surface as you hunt for a cure to save humanity. Now, this first launched into early access in 2023. There was loads and loads of cool stuff in there, but since then there's been tons of updates, including a co-op update. They've also enhanced the storyline even further. We covered the game back when it came out in full. We did a whole host of story, exploration, loads and loads of videos along those lines, and it was really enjoyable. Now, they are about to launch their 1.0 update, the full release version of the game. Alongside that, there's going to be tons and tons of changes, including revamped worlds, continuation of the storyline and finalization of it, loads and loads of new craftable and buildable items, and tons of other stuff that we'll be able to do and check out. So when it does go to 1.0 launch, we're going to check it out in full, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video for more Forever Skies. Now, on the 27th of February, the team released the community update, full release content, and more. The release window is now changing to early 2025. It was originally meant to be 2024 in October, but they've changed it so they can pretty much get everything a lot smoother, make the game more how they want, and the feedback that the players have been given to the team is great. They're currently sitting on mostly positive reviews. As you can see, with the 72% of the latest 158 reviews over 30 days being positive, but then for all time, a decent chunk of the 84% of 4,845 are positive. So, pretty good. There was a few issues at first, a few little buggy things, but overall this game has actually run really, really well and been a very smooth early access title. Now, alongside the full release, they're also going to be releasing their 2025 roadmap in just a few weeks. We don't have a definitive date yet for that full release, but this letter's got a load of good stuff in it, and there's also tons of stuff over their socials, which I'm quite excited about. So we'll look into that in just a second. But let's have a look at what the team have to say. First of all is going to be a price change. It's currently on sale for $14.99 on Steam. With 40% off, it's normally $24.99. So if you do want to check it out on the cheap, I'd recommend doing that now, because once it launches into 1.0, the discount percentage won't be there for as long, and it probably won't be as big. So I'd recommend getting it now before it does go into that 1.0 launch. There's a lot that they're going to be doing. The production team has been split into teams now to handle the full release of the game. Team 1 is story, Team 2 is world, and Team 3 is tech. So implementing the final chapter and cutscenes to the storyline. For Team 2, they're going to be developing changes to the world, including diving into it and pretty much enhancing some of the biomes and adding some new items in there, as well as adding dynamic encounters and improving existing mechanics like overhauling random data cards for the airship blueprints. Then Team 3, performance of the game does need some improvement, so these guys are going to be working on that. One of their biggest priorities will be implementing quality of life and bug fixes. They posted a performance survey on Steam. If you haven't filled that in, I'd recommend it if you're a regular player of the game. I'll put that in the link in the description down below. Go check that out. So for 1.0, what is coming? The Silent City biome, which is this here, the brand new one. It looks really, really cool and a hell of a lot more populated than the rest of the map. So right now, it relies completely on a procedural world to take place, and locations, and determines the world dressing across its map. It will generate the same tile over and over every few kilometers, and location type placement is relatively random. With 1.0, the world will be separated into biomes, where you can find specific locations, resources, and more. So we're going to have set locations in 1.0, which is going to make things a lot easier. I couldn't do any guides or anything like that because, well, it's all procedural. So what spawns in one place for me isn't going to be there for somebody else. Whereas with this, we may have a little bit of an easier ride finding some of those harder to acquire items. As well as that, they're adding this, the Overgrown Ruins biome. By designing a couple of different biomes with specific rules and defining what locations will spawn within them, we can create a more cohesive and believable world while still allowing for some procedural variety. One of the biggest issues with the current world's randomized nature is a lot of players found upgraded modules of certain tech items before finding basic modules, like the freezer, deck extractor. Placing certain locations and their tech in a later biome makes progression feel more natural rather than chaotic, which was a big pain in the arse. You were literally just flying and having to stop at every single location. Even though you've got enough resources from that type, there might have been a blueprint there that you'd need later down the line. Whereas with this approach, you'll be able to go through and explore certain locations that you want to explore rather than having to just go and explore it and run around it just for the sake of getting a blueprint. So that should help with that a little bit. That was one of the things I did find relatively annoying. It'd be nice to have sort of set locations, but as they mentioned, going through and finding a later tiered item before you found the first tier was quite frustrating. So hopefully that is something that they will negate with this update. As well as that, they're also adding new locations. Things like a launcher, which is part of the story. You've seen some of these on their social media pages. This one mainly was showcased a little bit. Looked quite cool. Looks like some sort of rocket launch or satellite, possibly. But they said they won't go into the details of the story, but this is an important decision that you have to be made by the player when you reach this location. So we're going to have to decide whether to launch whatever the hell that is, and whether we go with it or whether we go alone. Or stay down here, or I don't know, maybe there's something we're going to put in there which will change the environment, or it's sort of like a sacrifice, I'm going to stay down here, carry on building, let's send the data up to the top. So this could be a completion point for the storyline. If you get in it like Subnautica, you're gone, it's done, game over, start again from the beginning, or load a save. Whereas this could be something along those lines. As well as that, they've also added some stuff under the dust. I believe this is under the dust anyway. It does look very dark and dingy. The workshop is a new location type found in the Silent City biomes that some eagle-eyed players might recognise from early game trailers and Steam blogs back when we called it the Tech Bay. However, we've given this location a glow-up since you guys saw it last, which is quite cool. It does look awesome. Then we've got airstrips. This one looks insane. I do like the look of all of these new locations. They look a lot more open and explorable than some of the smaller things that we've seen originally, which I do like. Now, this is an airship where manufactured at these locations before humanity lost its fight against nature. So you'll be able to find important and cosmetic airship upgrades here, as well as more lore elements, resources, devices, and puzzles, such as interactive cranes, which that's going to be bloody cool. I'm assuming by the looks of it, we're going to have to move the cranes to move the crates to gain access to certain areas. That's what it looks like to me. Or we're going to have to sort of shoot these crates down off of the actual tower or crane itself. Now, the airship locations will also have large landing pads complete with scaffolding to make them the perfect location to do upgrades and continue your airship exterior expansion from, and maybe attach some new airship balloon designs, which we'll go into in a moment. But as you can see, these cranes here, it looks like some of these items may be sort of hanging off, and you've got to use the crane to bring them back around onto the platform itself so you can search it properly. Then these here are the new balloons, which I've shared. I've done a video with the new balloons already, which was quite a while ago. There was some good news coming out, loads of updates, and the co-op expansion came as well, alongside this that we're teasing as they're working on in the future. But as you can see, they've got some weird designs. I don't like the Greg's pasty. I like the triangle one. That looks really, really cool. It's a shame you can't go into the balloon. Yeah, I like the triangle, and I don't like the pasty. It looks weird. I don't know what that one is, but it does look cool. Then we've also got things like the cutting tool. This will be used to get around the workshop easier on return visits, as well as unlocking supply containers, which you will find at workshop locations. But you'll also find smaller isolated supply containers on other POIs around the world. Now, these here are the isolated supply containers. So as you can see, they are on a crane, and we are going to have to move them onto land by the looks of it. That's what I reckon anyway, but supply containers and changes to data card blueprint mechanics. Inside supply containers, players will find special resources that are now used to research new blueprints for the airship. Weirdly, they look like the old data cards, but the team is sure that that is just a coincidence. Now, getting these data cards will also give you a little bit of a resource, which will give you control and freedom to do more research and unlock the parts you want, rather than having to find certain parts around. Now, I'm assuming this is going to just be for things like building and airship improvement, and nothing game specific like fabricators and stuff like that. Now, pretty cool. Players will now find these blueprints for a whole category of airship modules, and then via research computers at specific locations in the world, not just one blueprint at a time like before. These will now get sent to your research station on your airship, and you'll be able to select which parts you want to prioritize and unlock first. Research on these blueprints will require research parts, which players can find inside the supply containers that we've just looked at, which I do like. It gives more freedom to the player and not relying on random drops, as the team have said. So that's cool. I do like that idea, and it's going to be like a skill system. I'm assuming you're going to get so many points and then you put them into different research sections to be able to upgrade your ship throughout the game. You'll also notice different murals located all around the game, like this one here. These are there to tell different stories and expand upon the lore in the game, both before and after the downfall of the planet. By scanning all of them, you'll complete a collection and unlock a special reward. It might seem far-fetched that these exist in the first place, but creative and artistic people find a way to express themselves even during the collapse of humanity. I mean, well, not exactly the collapse of humanity, but if you're in the UK, have you seen the graffiti art that people do on the bloody bridges along the motorway? How the hell they get there? And on the top of buildings and shit. Mental. Now, these things are going to be a little bit deadly. As you can see here, this is the Colossus. The colossal life forms that we've seen in the original trailers that bring down buildings and destroy the world. As you can see, this one is flying out into the dust. Whether it will pop up and destroy the ship, we don't know. These creatures are far beyond your means to fight, but if you get close enough, they might reward you with rare resources and new areas to explore. So it does look like that there is coming out of a tunnel which has opened it up, and we'll be able to explore that potentially. But I do like that. It's very, very cool. Now, the team do say towards the end of this letter that no more save resets will be needed. Once 1.0 is out, you won't have to restart any game at all. You'll be able to go and crack on and do whatever you want. They have said that when 1.0 launches, it would be better for you to start from scratch because you will miss out on certain content items that were in the beginning of the game and other little bits and bobs that they're going to be adding throughout. And although they are calling this a full release, it is not a final update. There's going to be loads and loads of stuff that they're going to get out there, such as quality of life improvements that they want to add and tons of features that they have on their feature upvote board. So, highly recommend checking that out. All the relevant links will be in the description down below. Forever Skies is looking pretty damn good, and I'm very excited for the full release of the game. Cannot wait to check this out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. For now though, I've been Wired. You've been awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.